Hi everyone, Upsetmax here with another TFT comps guide. It's going to be on the new patch 14.20b. Before we get started, make sure you check out the GoFundMe if you are interested in supporting my trip to the TFT Macau Open 2024. A link in the description and in the pinned comments. So let's get straight into the 3 strongest comps that you should be playing in order to climb on the new patch 14.20b. We are also going to be having some other S tier comps to include at the very end. Most of these have already existed, which is why they will not be listed in detail from today's video. So the 3 we are going to talk about today are going to be Dragon Shapeshifters, Scholar / Portal Ryze. I'll show you how to play flexibly, and then also the new Mages Reroll and not playing around Veigar. At the very end, we're going to do a recap and a Q&A for those watching this live in the Thick Gamer Training Grounds Discord channel. So let's get started with the Shapeshifter Dragons. So this is going to be a Fast 8 / Fast 9 composition. The reason why Fast 9 here is because we do want to be capping out with legendaries for that maximum cap with Smolder and Briar. There are going to be multiple ways that we can stabilize, however, on the level 8 board, which I'll be showing later on. This is going to be a physical damage composition, and it's just going to be a DPS. There's no real burst, there's no real stall, so it'll just be regular damage per second. And because we are going to be a physical damage composition, we will be requiring Sunderer. However, we will not be requiring anti-heal because we will be playing at least 2 Dragon with Smolder and Shyvana. So that is a quick intro into the composition. Here we have a lot of buffs and 1 nerf over onto Briar. So this composition is back because of a actual shapeshifter bonus HP buff. Briar gets a little bit of her Ravenous bonus per missing HP lowered, but there are a lot of other buffs. So Nasus is back with his spell HP increase. Elise now also heals more. Jace does more damage. Smolder is a lot tankier with 15 plus onto his armor and magic resist, and also Nico will be casting more often as well. So the way we want to be playing this composition, since we want to be stabilizing on 8 first, we're going to be going level 8 on either 4-1 or 4-2, depending on how rich we are, and then stabilizing for one of these 2 boards. So ideally, we hit the high roll stability where we have the Briar and we have the Smolder. From here on, of course, just the one star version of these main carries, we can go level 9. However, if we do not hit either one of these, then instead of just playing an Elise or a Jace for 6 Shapeshifter, especially if we have melee items we can carry around like the Olaf, play Hoi for Blaster and Frost, and in this way we can stabilize more on level 8, and then hopefully make our way to level 9, especially if we have an econ augment such as like Slammin or Epic. Moving on to the best in slot, so Varus is going to be our initial carry just because we cannot guarantee the Smolder, and we don't want to be building more of attack damage carry items which revolve around attack speed. At least early to mid game, we want to be playing more for that attack caster, so Varus is a lot more reliable. Infinity Edge, Shojin +1, this can either be a Last Whisper, Hand of Justice, a second IE is always good, and then also a Deathblade is fine as well. Normally red buff would be ideal in this composition, but because we are playing 2 Dragon, we want to be using those bows for other items such as like Titans or like that Last Whisper, rather than red buff for double up on that heal cut. Our melee item holder is going to be Olaf before we hit that Briar. So this can be Bloodthirster, Titans, and then that +1 can be a Styx, Edge of Night, Hand of Justice, TG, or also just an Infinity Edge as well. You want to be putting your tank items onto Nasus, and then as I mentioned before, you don't need to be building heal cuts, so no Sunfires, no Morellos, no red buffs because of that 2 Dragon. So this is the 2 ways that you want to be playing at least your level 8, and then both cap out, of course, on level 9, and you want to be playing something like this, where you have 6 Shapeshifter, and then this 3rd slot Nomsy really buffs up your Smolder, which you want to be putting items onto late game, and also a little bit on Shyvana if you have items such as like Crown Guard or BT on her as well. Let's install augments to go along with this composition. Draconic Mastery is going to be very good. Here you want to be re-rolling that Shyvana and that Nomsy, and getting Nomsy carries, so like Shojin, Last Whisper, IE. And then eventually you will be given a free Smolder at 60 takedowns, and from there your board will spike a lot. Eternal Growth or Eternal Growth Plus is going to be good. Giant and Mighty for more HP scaling. Same thing with the Martyr and Aspiring Epitaph. And also Little Buddies because we have a good amount of Little Buddies. In this case, we would drop the Swain and we would play the Jace instead. So that way we have another Little Buddy to buff up our big buddies. So that is going to be the Shapeshifter Dragons composition. It has existed for a while now, however it is back in the meta due to all of these buffs. Make sure you play it if you have a good spot for it, and if you're able to hit this on level 9, you should have a pretty decent win chance, and definitely you'll be able to top 4 your lobby. So moving on to our second type of composition for today is going to be playing Ryze flexibly. So there's mainly two ways you can be playing this composition, either just vertical portal if you have a portal +1, or by playing the 4 Scholar Flex version. This is going to be also another fast 8/9 composition. 9 is going to be more for that 4 Scholar. However, you can also go fast 9 off of just like one, if you have like portal +1, just because of how stable it is on 8 portal on stage 4. This is going to be a pure magic damage composition, and this is going to be a stall comp because we will be building an Archangel on the Ryze. So the longer the fight goes, the more we are able to stall, the stronger our backline damage carry will be. And because this is a stall comp with no burst, there's going to be a lot of times where the enemy can heal back up. So we want to make sure that we are building anti-heal, either a red buff or a Morello on that Ryze, and then some sort of shred, a shiv in the backline, or a spark in the front line. So here are two boards. We're going to have the Portal Ryze board on the top here, and then the 4 Scholar Flex Ryze board on the bottom. Of course, if we have a Portal +1, we're just going to be playing a Portal easily on level 8. If we do hit that Nora, then we can play her. If we don't have that Nora, then we just have to play the Jace instead. And then from here, we want to be going level 9. The good thing with the 8 Portal board is because mainly since we're just going for that Tark 2, that Ryze 2, Nami 2 is great, but Nami 1 is fine as well. We will not be rolling that much, and we can save that econ and go level 9 to play around that Diana and hit that Nora over that Jace. So that's how you play the Portal Ryze board. Of course, you put your 3 main tank item or 3 main damage items on your Ryze, 3 main tank items on your Taric, and let the portal do its work, helping buff your team and dealing damage with its bombs. On the other side here, we have the 4 Scholar Ryze version, so a little bit tougher to play just because we really just want to play what we hit. The easiest version to play on level 8 that doesn't require legendaries is just to play around a bit of Preserver and Arcana with the Tahm Kench and the Hecarim. However, once we get to level 9, we want to be swapping out some units for some legendaries such as Morgana and Diana, and dropping the Ahri Arcana for that Milio. Best in slot Ryze is going to be quite similar in both. So best in slot Ryze for these boards is going to be Archangel for sure, and then our +2 is going to be some sort of anti-heal, so either red buff or Morellonomicon, and then our last one is just going to be damage, either a Jewel Gauntlet, Guardbreaker, Rageblade, or Rabadons. These are all fine. Even Shiv is fine as well, however you can move Shiv over to like another backline unit, and then give Ryze a proper damage item when you have the chance. In both cases, your tank items are going to be on Taric, so any like Redemption, Warmog, Spark, Vow, these are all very good. Gargos is okay, but he is already a Bastion, so he already has a good amount of resistances, but sometimes you have to make what you have depending on your spots. And last but not least, both of these versions, they cap out on level 9 with legendaries, which I will show on this next board here. Alright, so here's the capped out 8 portal version. So we drop that Jace, we get that Nora in, and then we also add in that Diana and get that portal spat. Before we had to play that portal spat on 8 on that Nami. However, once we are able to move that over, it is a lot better. This way, this Diana frontline unit will be receiving the large shield from the 8 portal as opposed to a backline unit. And because this is a stall comp as well, items such as like Archangels or like Hextech Gunblade will be ideal on that Diana. Spark is very good as well, and you will build that unless you have some sort of Shiv or a Spark on a different unit. For our 4 Scholar Ryze Flex board, this is the board that I recommend. So we drop that Ahri, we drop that Hecarim, we drop that Tahm Kench, especially now that Arcana has been nerfed. And we can play better units, 5-cost units such as like that Diana, that Morgana. We add in a Zillion on 9 as well for 4 Preserver, and this caps out quite hard once you are able to hit those 2-star legendaries, and now Emilio is a lot better than playing that Ahri. So best in slot augments to go along for these 2 compositions, of course, with the portal comp. A portal crest or a crown is ideal. With the scholar comp, this way you are able to play 6 scholar, and you just drop the Zillion on level 9 for that Ahri, especially once you hit that Milio. Higher education is quite good in both, just for scholars, a lot better for the scholar version, of course. Magic wand is very good. Little buddies, high voltage, and combat caster are all going to be ideal as well. So playing around Ryze, you really want to play from more of a tempo position. Ideally, you don't want to be opening and then playing into Ryze, unless for some reason you could go fast level 9, but this normally requires like 2 econ augments. So just play this from a tempo spot, like a 3 portal, like Zoe 2, Jace 2, or even like a tempo mage spot, like with just like Soraka 2, Seraphine 2, some other like frontline mage units, and then you can transition to this into the mid and late game based off of your augments. Definitely give this one a try as well. One of the definitely favorite comp of mine and is doing quite well. Then our last comp for today is going to be kind of a new composition. So Mage's Reroll has been around for a while. However, we have been mainly playing around that Vex 3 and that Veigar 3. Now with the changes, Seraphine and Soraka are quite good, and we want to be going for these 3 stars as well, especially if we have Worth the Wait. So there's essentially like 2 main ways we could play this, like either the Veigar version or the Seraphine Soraka version. I'll talk about the Seraphine Soraka version today. So you will be mainly rerolling on level 5 or going for a reroll of both or all 3 of 1, 2, and 3 costs. This is going to be a burst composition now, so it doesn't really matter like the longer the fight goes, unless we build like an Archangel, and this is going to be a pure magic damage composition, so we will be requiring some sort of shred. This composition is best with a Mage +1 or the Augment practice partners for more frequent caps or for more frequent casts. And the reason why this composition is back, there has been a lot of buffs. There was a B patch yesterday that really toned down this composition from being absolutely insane to just being S tier now, and we'll show some of that on the next slide. So this is what your level 5 board is just going to look like. We just play 5 mages, very simple. Our items are either going to be on Seraphine or Soraka. Honestly, I would just scout around, and this would be lobby dependent, also item dependent. Seraphine will spread anti-heal a lot better than the Soraka. So if you have the opportunity to make a red buff or a Morello, then you want to be itemizing your Seraphine instead. Another thing is you want to be scouting around and seeing if the enemy boards are more likely to be enemy backline carry compositions, such as like Callisto or Ryze, or for some reason there is just a lot of melee units such as like Cassidy carry, etc., where Soraka would be better. For both versions, make sure you're not leveling or rolling until stage 3 run right after Krugs. You'll be level 4 and being able to hit a lot of Seraphines and Soraka rolling on level 4 with a lot of gold. Seraphine Bis is going to be Shojin plus AP plus 1. So this AP is either just going to be Jewel Gauntlet or Rabadons. Of course, if you have Jewel Gauntlet, then Guardbreaker as your 3rd item becomes a lot better. But if you just have Rabadons, then you could just build like either a Morello, a Gunblade, or a Giant Slayer. These are all fine. And in this case, you would build any like secondary backline AP items on Soraka, like have her hold a Shiv, a Shojin just to cast more often, deal a bit more damage, and also heal your frontline. In regards of our frontline, ideally you want to be going for both Galio 3 and Vex 3. Of course, this might not always be the case, especially if you don't have an econ augment. So for the time being, especially at this point of the game, just put your tank items on a Galio 2 and we can move over to Vex later. We want to be slow rolling on level 7 for that Vex 3, since that will be our main frontline, so we want to have that 3-starred and 3 items. And this is how you want to copy your board. Ideally, you have a Mage +1. You could even go for that Mordekaiser as well. If you don't have a Mage +1, then you'll have to try to high roll a Nami or a Nora. If not, then you will just have to play 5 Mage for the time being. Let's install augments to go along with this composition. As I mentioned, practice partners and Mage +1 is going to be extremely good. Mage +1 will allow you to hit a board like this without getting that 5 cost legendary Yotonori and Yuma. Nora and Yumi. Magic Wand is going to be very good as well, as we can use Infinite Rods in this composition. Spellcaster Toolbox and Learning to Spell are going to be the 2 other best augments for the Mage composition. A couple other good ones. High Voltage. Well, now we don't have to worry about Shred. Silver/Prismatic Ticket in order to hit everything. Seraphine, Soraka, Galio, Vex, and also that Mordekaiser if we do have that +1. Crown Guarded, Blossoming Lotus 2, Blossoming Lotus 3 also got buffed, and then also worth the wait if we have the Seraphine or the Soraka chosen as this unit, then we could definitely easily hit that 3-star and eventually go for that 4-star starting around stage 6. Last but not least, any 2-1 econ augment is going to be very good as well, but not in this case for like slamming or epic. In this case, you would much rather have like raining gold because we want to be staying low level. So just pure econ, pure gold would be better than rolls or XP. And then we're also going to talk about some final other S tier compositions that are very good in this meta, at least like 2 days in. So CVS or Corrupt Vampire Acceptor Warwick Reroll is still extremely good. If you hit this from an Artifact Anvil or from a like portable Forge 2-1, definitely hard force this, and then your 2 other items will be a Titans and a Rage Blade. You'll just go 6 Vanguard, and Warwick 2 is very stable, at least until like mid stage 3 or starting stage 4. Very Callisto Recon is still very, very good. So this can be one of your default compositions if you have a bow early, or if you have already a Rage Blade. You can even tempo into this from a Rage Blade start. Or Hunter Jinx Wukong, especially with 3-2 spin to win, will be extremely strong, or is extremely strong. So you could definitely go for this as well. Same with 6 Hunter. The Eldritch line has been buffed, so 7 Eldritch with School Mascot or just an Eldritch +1, definitely playable. And then a couple of our last ones here, they've been existing for a while. Witchcraft +1, so playing around 6 Witch, super good. Same with the 6 Chrono Karma and playing 6 Chrono as your final board, are all very playable S tier compositions as well. So that's been everything for today. I'll do a quick recap of our compositions that we talked about that you should be playing, and then we'll head into Q&A for those who are watching this live. So the 3 main comps that I want to be playing this patch is going to be Dragon Shapeshifters, Scholar Portal Ryze, and then Mage's Reroll. So a little bit of standard around like 4 cost carries. We have a Reroll out as well, and then also an AD line and an AP line that is flexible. Dragon Shapeshifters, definitely play if you have Draconic Mastery. Scholar / Portal Ryze, play if you have a +1, or if you just have an AP Tempo start. And then Mage's Reroll if you have a lot of Seraphine or Soraka copies early, along with AP items, and then hopefully an Econ augments. Keep an eye out for these other S tier compositions. You don't only want to be playing these 3, however they are good. You might also have other spots for these S tier compositions as well. For example, like Rageblade into Fairy close to Rakan, and definitely go for that if you have the chance. So that's been everything for today. Make sure you leave a comment on the video if you liked it, and we'll see you all next week for another video. That's all, and best of luck in your games.